They don't tell you the removable ID takes up one slot. It's a nightmare.
Nightmare. Nightmare.
Keep this on your person at all times. It's right here under Batman's signature.
Signature. Signature.
Right here under Batman's signature.
Haroon and Tanveer.
No, not like Haroon and Tanveer.
Such sweet young men. They just...
Sweet. Sweet.
Such sweet young men. They just...
No, we're not like Haroon and Tanveer.
So you boys academics like our son?
Uh-huh.
Academic. Academic.
You boys academics like our son?
Uh-huh.
You boys academics like our son?
Yes.
And your parents are comfortable with your limited earning potential?
Not at all.
Comfortable. Comfortable.
Parents are comfortable with your limited earning potential?
Not at all.
Well, now she's a dental student at USC. So we gave her your contact information.
Contact. Contact.
So we gave her your contact information.
Why did you do that?
You're 26 years old, Rajesh. We want grandchildren.
Grandchild. Grandchild.
We want grandchildren.
But
26 years old, Rajesh. We want grandchildren.
Papa, I'm not supposed to...
Lalita's parents approve the match.
Approve. Approve.
Lalita's parents approve the match.
While arranged marriages are no longer the norm, Indian parents continue to have a greater than average involvement in their children's love lives.
Involvement. Involvement.
Involvement in their children's love lives.
Doogie House has been off the air for like 20 years.
Actually, I read somewhere that it's one of the most popular programs in India.
Somewhere. Somewhere.
Actually, I read somewhere that it's one of the most popular programs in India. Actually, I read somewhere that it's one of the most popular programs in India.
It might speak to a cultural aspiration to have one's children enter the medical profession.
Profession. Profession.
Children enter the medical profession. It might speak to a cultural aspiration to have one's children enter the medical profession.
I bet you're right.
Bet. Bet.
I bet you're right.
I bet they love Scrubs.
What's not to love?
Excuse me, hello? My parents are trying to marry me off to a total stranger. What?
Strange. Strange.
My parents are trying to marry me off to a total stranger. What?
I suggest you go through with it. What? Romantic love is the basis for marriage, is only...
Romantic. Romantic.
Romantic love is the basis for marriage, is only... Romantic love is the basis for marriage, has only existed since the 19th century. Up until then, arranged marriages were the norm.
Norm. Norm.
Up until then, arranged marriages were the norm, and it served society quite well.
It's the entire premise of Fiddler on the Roof.
I'm not a big fan of musicals, but I love that show.
Musical. Musical.
I'm not a big fan of musicals, but I love that show.
So who wants to rent Fiddler?
No need, we have the special edition.
Edition. Edition.
No need, we have the special edition. Yeah, well, I'm sorry too, but there's just no room for you in my wallet. Now, I understand, but it was between you and the Museum of Natural History.
Museum. Museum.
Now, I understand, but it was between you and the Museum of Natural History.
look on the bright side. She might turn out to be a nice, beautiful girl.
Great. Then we'll get married, I won't be able to talk to her, and we'll spend the rest of our lives in total silence.
silence, silence,
And we'll spend the rest of our lives in total silence.
Okay, there's a lab animal supply company in Reseda you could try. But if your research is going to have human applications,
application, application,
but if your research is going to have human applications,
Well, the key to acquiring proficiency in any task is repetition.
with certain obvious exceptions,
exception, exception,
with certain obvious exceptions, with certain obvious exceptions. Suicide, for example.
suicide, suicide,
Suicide, for example.
You know, Penny, we'd love to help you, but Raj is going through some stuff right now. And besides, he doesn't drink, so...
besides, besides,
Oh, and besides, he doesn't drink, so... Thank you. You know, this drink is a wonderful example of how liquids with different specific
liquid, liquid,
of how liquids with different specific
Okay, Raj, what'll it be?
Whatever you recommend.
recommend, recommend,
Whatever you recommend.
I'll have a Diet Coke.
Okay, can you please order a cocktail? I need to practice mixing drinks.
mix, mix,
Cocktail, I need to practice mixing drinks. So, Coke.
Yes. And would you make it diet?
diet, diet,
And would you make it diet?
My father wanted me to be a gynecologist like him. How can I be a gynecologist? I can barely look a woman in the eye.
barely, barely,
Gynecologist, I can barely look a woman in the eye. So I'm not riding an elephant down the aisle with Lalita Gupta.
Okay, calm down.
calm, calm,
Okay, calm down.
It's a sweet green miracle.
miracle, miracle,
It's a sweet green miracle. Do you remember?
Yes, I do.
Of course you do. Who could forget being that fat?
fat, fat,
You do. Who could forget being that fat? Well, not as high as, say, air traffic controllers, but then there are far more dentists than air traffic controllers, so in pure numbers, you're still winning.
pure, pure,
Controllers, so in pure numbers, you're still winning.
Who was mocked by all the other monkeys because he was different. For some reason, I related to it quite strongly.
strongly, strongly,
For some reason, I related to it quite strongly.
Every day at Disneyland, you can hire Snow White to come to your house. Of course, they prefer it if you have a kid.
prefer, prefer,
Of course, they prefer it if you have a kid.
Forgive me, Your Highness, for I am but a monkey, and it is in my nature to climb.
climb, climb,
And it is in my nature to climb. A beloved character from an Indian folk tale.
Oh, us Indian or come to our casino Indian?
casino, casino,
Us Indian or or come to our casino, India. Well, thanks. I imagine you smell very nice too.
I shower twice a day and wash my hands as often as I can.
shower, shower,
I shower twice a day and wash my hands as often as I can.
You are my lady. Our parents said so. We are, for all intents and purposes, 100% hooked up.
intent, intent,
So, we are, for all intents and purposes, 100% hooked up.
What are we supposed to say to Lalita's parents?
I play golf with her father.
golf, golf,
I play golf with her father.
And may I point out, she wouldn't have asked me to go with her if you hadn't been drunk and boring.
Drunk?
And boring, her words.
bore, bore,
And boring, her words.